the news, Nigeria's ambassador to the US dies at 85. Court rejects federal government's application to mask witnesses in the treason trial of Sowore. And Presidential Task Force says religious bodies are breaking COVID-19 guidelines. Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Nigerian ambassador to the United States, Sylvanus Unsofo, is dead. He died Thursday night at the age of 85, a retired justice of Nigeria's Court of Appeal. Unsofo assumed office as Nigeria's ambassador to the United States on November 13, 2017. The envoy succeeded Adebowale Adefoye, who also died towards the end of his tenure as Nigeria's ambassador to the United States. Unsofo, who hails from Oguta, Imo State, Nigeria, graduated from London College of Law in 1962. He also bagged Masters in Law from the London School of Economics in 1964. He was appointed to the bench in Nigeria in 1977 and served as a judge of the Imo State High Court and Justice of the Court of Appeal of Nigeria for 13 years until his mandatory retirement in 2005. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday mourned Nigeria's ambassador to the United States, Justice Sylvanus Unsofo. Unsofo died on Thursday evening in the United States. The senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, in a statement said President Buhari called the late ambassador a man of rare courage. According to the statement, President Buhari, during the telephone conversation with the deceased widow, described the late envoy as an outstanding judge of rare courage and truth, who is not afraid to give justice to whom justice is due. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana on his re-election for his second term in office. The president also commends the people of Ghana on the successful conclusion of the presidential and parliamentary elections, attesting further that with the right institutions and political leadership, constitutional democracy in the West African sub-region has come to stay. President Buhari appealed to other contestants in the elections to put national interest above personal and partisan considerations and maintain the peace while seeking resolution of grievances through established legal avenues. The president noted that Nigeria and Ghana share close historic and cultural ties, and in that he looks forward to working with his Ghanaian counterpart in realizing shared goals that bring peace, security and prosperity to the citizens of both countries in particular and the ECOWAS community in general. Now, the refusal of President Muhammadu Buhari to appear before the House of Representatives has generated argument among Nigerians. Lawyers are also sharply divided on this matter. For a better analysis on the matter, we are joined now by lawyer Adamson Adebor, who joins us via Skype from Abuja. Thank you, Adamson, for joining us for News Now. Now, what's your take on the whole issue? Do you think lawmakers possess the power to summon the president?
The starting point is the powers of the National Assembly to do oversight functions. And the issue or the question now is whether that power covers the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as regards the security of Nigeria. We all know that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And to that extent, is responsible for the security of Nigeria. Now, in the performance of that function, the question is this: whether they can, as a master of constitutional power, invite the president to rub mind on the issue of security as far as Nigeria integrity, internal and external integrity is concerned. My take on this matter is clear. The National Assembly has power to invite the president in pursuant to their oversight function as regards the security of this nation. So it is not out of place to invite it, to rub mind. And I think the essence of that invitation is to put heads together as regards what the president has been doing vis-a-vis the officers appointed by the president, the security officers appointed by the president, whether they have lived up to expectation. And if not, how to chart the course to move Nigeria forward in terms of security.
Now, the Attorney General of Nigeria said that the House does not have the power to actually summon the president. Now, I want to take your point of view from the legal perspective.
By virtue of Section 89 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, National Assembly has power, while performing their oversight function, to invite the president on any issue that pertains to the legislative power of the National Assembly. Mind you, armed forces, security, the security of Nigeria is part of legislative power of the National Assembly. It's in the exclusive legislative list. And to that extent, they have the power to invite the president.
Yeah, it was quoted to have said that the position of the president is higher than that of ministers or any member of the executive. As a matter of fact, he said, you know, the power the president has, with the power the president has, the House cannot just, you know, invite him to come before the House to talk about any issue. So what is your response to this?
That cannot be correct. The president was elected by the people. And the members of the National Assembly were also elected by the people. They are the representatives of the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, as representatives of Nigerians, they can validly invite the president on issues that borders on security and all other matters that affect the welfare and the well-being of Nigerians. So, that is out of place to say the National Assembly can invite the president. They can validly under the law.
All right, thank you very much, Adamson Adeboro, for sharing your thoughts with us. That was legal practitioner Adamson Adeboro talking to us on refusal of President Muhammadu Buhari to appear before the House of Representatives. Moving now to other stories, where the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja on Friday rejected an application by the federal government to be allowed to mask all the witnesses that are due to testify against convener the hashtag Revolution Now protest. Omoleye Sowore and his co-defendants Olawole Bakare, Sowore and Bakare, and answering to an amended 2-count treasonable felony charge. The defendants were alleged to have conspired to stage a revolution campaign on August 5, 2019, tagged hashtag Revolution Now, aimed at removing President Muhammadu Buhari from office as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The federal government had midway into the testimony of its first witness, Rashid Olawale, a principal staff officer of the Department of State Service, DSS, pleaded with the court to shield identities of all the pending witnesses. The defense team, led by human rights lawyer Femi Falana and Abubakar Marshal, urged the court to dismiss the application, insisting that there was nothing in the charge to warrant the exception of members of the public from observing their trial. As Nigerians join the rest of the world to commemorate the World Human Rights Day, the federal government has been urged to leave nothing to chance in advancing and protecting the rights of its citizens so as to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. The call became necessary in the wake of the hashtag #EndSARS protest and different reports of abuse of the fundamental human rights of Nigerians. Our correspondent, Jerusha Amaregbo, has the rest of the story.
Human Rights Day is observed every year on 10th December. It is the day the United Nations General Assembly adopted in 1948 for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The declaration establishes the inalienable rights as a human being. In Nigeria, the President Muhammadu Buhari-led government has never minced words regarding its stance on the protection and advancement of the rights of every citizen. However, human rights activists say, as noble and reassuring as President Buhari's words are, major democratic rights, freedom of speech, and of peaceful protests continue to be under severe threats in the country.
In the case of Nigeria, today has to be celebrated. But in celebrating today, we must, as a country, acknowledge those who were recently killed in Lekki in Lagos, in Osogbo, in Abuja, and other places, because people were protesting peacefully. We must also take advantage of this celebration to warn the government to stop blaming hoodlums for hijacking protests. The government has a duty to protect peaceful protesters.
The security forces in Nigeria have also come under intense criticism for impunity in the discharge of their duties.
Human rights standards are in the best interest of anybody and everybody. You are not doing the government or yourself a favor. Rather, you are doing yourself a favor by upholding the human rights standards. You are not helping people. These are the best standards for the overall well-being of the entire nation and of the entire world. So I will urge the government to do everything possible to respect every human rights convention and respect them fully to the letters.
National Human Rights Commission, led by its executive secretary marking the day, said Nigeria is not doing badly in the human rights protection indices.
You see, we receive complaints on human rights violations here, and we deal with it as much as we can. You can know, right now, there is the ongoing panel on investigations of human rights violations complaints against the law enforcement agencies. Yes, you cannot say the law enforcement agencies have not violated the rights of Nigerians, but the fact that we have an avenue where we can go and challenge it and contest it and bring accountability is comforting.
This year's Human Rights Day theme, Recover Better, Stand Up for Human Rights, relates to the COVID-19 pandemic and focuses on the need to build back better by ensuring human rights are central to recovery efforts.
A judge of Court of Appeal, Justice Olubunmi Oyewole, has stressed the need for Nigerians to demonstrate recognition and appreciation for service, saying this should be beyond the symbolic recognition dished out to mostly political and business elites. Oyewole canvassed this position in Lagos while delivering a lecture at the 3rd Annual Gani Farimi Impact and Integrity Awards organized by the Human and Environmental Development Agenda Heather Resource Center. Justice Oyewole paid glowing tributes to late Farimi, who he said never held public office but lived a life of service to the Nigerian people, one which the citizens would continue to appreciate and acknowledge. Heather Chairman Olarinwaju Suraju in his remarks said that the goal of the award was to encourage Nigerians to strive for integrity and patriotic commitment to honesty, justice, truth and fairness in the quest to stamp out corruption in both private and public spheres.
One must commend the Lagos State government in this regard with a few notable ones jotting various parts of the state. These memorials reiterate gratitude for the worthy service rendered by the various individuals involved. It may be pointed out, however, that while monuments and memorials on our streets and major spots do create a sense of history and gratitude, a proper citation of the celebrated individuals, including details of the service, the recognition of which the monument was raised, is vital. Namely, without citation, not enough. Our various institutions need to honor and perpetuate the service of key personalities. Beautiful as well as tragic experiences must be captured for historical and other reasons. The enormous sacrifice of our uniformed patriots could be better appreciated. The nation has fought several battles, including the ongoing Boko Haram insurgency in the Northeast. Heroes of this war are both living and deceased.
It's our ways to recognize what you are doing and to also tell you that people are seeing what you're doing, people are noting what you're doing, and we want you to do more. Forget about the fact that people are saying, no, the country is not worth dying for. Anything that is worth living for is worth dying for. So for all that you do in your little corner, this is the least that header can do to support and encourage you. We've had reasons to even support people who are falling victims of whistleblowing, both technically and financially, where we have the means. So we're ready to go as far as we can to encourage whistleblowers.
We'll take a break here, but still to come. Federal government says isolation centers should reopen in anticipation of the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic. Now let's take a recap of some of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with the family of Justice Sylvanus Nsofo. The Nigeria ambassador to the U.S. who passed on Thursday. President Buhari described the late judge as a fearless and unbiased judge. He also told you that the Federal High Court in Abuja has rejected federal government's application to mask witnesses that will testify against the convener of Revolution Now, Omoyele Sowore. Sowore is standing trial for treason. Now to COVID-19 stories and cases. The federal government has hinted at reopening COVID-19 isolation centers in Nigeria over the resurgence of the dreaded virus in the country. Minister of Health Osage Ehanire, who spoke at the briefing of the Presidential Task Force PTF on COVID-19, disclosed that in recent weeks there has been a continuous rise in the number of fresh cases of the virus in the country. He also stated that the increasing rate of the virus in recent times suggests that the country may just be on the verge of a second wave of the pandemic and needs to buckle up in its disease control measures. Nigeria recorded its highest number of daily infections of COVID-19 in 6 months on Thursday, with the 675 new cases taking the country's caseload to 71,344 amid fears of a second wave of the pandemic. According to Nigeria's Center for Disease Control (NCDC), the death toll also jumped to 1,190 after 6 people died in the last 24 hours. NCDC's data confirmed that of the over 71,000 infections in Nigeria, 65,474 have been discharged, while active cases in the country are 4,680 due to the recent rise in new infections. The new infections were recorded from 16 states, FCT leading with 183 cases, followed by Lagos and Kaduna with 128 and 85 cases respectively. The federal government has accused religious leaders of sabotaging the national response in containing the spread of COVID-19 pandemic in the country by holding large gatherings. Secretary to the government and chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, said this during a press conference of the PTF in Abuja, expressing a rather sad observation that Nigerians, particularly some faith-based organizations, have continued to hold events of large gatherings capable of spreading the virus, which is detrimental to the country's disease control measures. He, however, assured all Nigerians that the PTF is still persistent in deepening risk communication, community engagement, surveillance, testing, and pursuit of a viable strategy for assessing the vaccine in a safe and effective manner. We'll take a pause here and return with business.
On Deji 360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
The Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country. I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly. God forbid that I go to join that
Deji 360, providing clarity to issues.
Welcome back. Let's join Mary Kano for the latest in business and stock market review.
Thank you, Fulashade. A Lagos-based lawyer and human rights activist, Evans Ufeli, has dragged the Central Bank of Nigeria to the Federal High Court over the guidelines on point-of-sale POS card acceptance services issued in 2011. The claimant says the guidelines do not authorize POS merchants to impose and collect from consumers any stamp duties, service charge or surcharge on POS transactions. Nigerians are charged for stamp duty or any other extra charges when using the POS anywhere. The POS merchants always claim they are charged by their banker for every transaction. The lawyer is, however, asking the court for a declaration that the Stamp Duties Act does not authorize point-of-sales merchants to collect stamp duty charges from consumers of commodities on the basis that those services are paid for via point-of-sale terminals as opposed to cash. I will take a pause now and return with Stock Market Review. The Nigerian stock market ended the fifth trading session on a negative note as cautious buying amid an increasing COVID-19 infections and the move for a second lockdown kept investors a bit jittery. Now, consequently, the all-share index plunged by 0.94% to close at 34,250 basis points, while the market's capitalization dropped by 1 trillion to close at 17 trillion naira. Now, despite the loss, market breadth closed positive as 29 equities recorded gains against 9 losers. Now, the laggards table saw equities from all sectors record losses as Dangote Cement and J. Berger were the top losers with a combined 16 naira loss. Now, GlaxoSmithKline and Unilever rounded off the list of the top 4 losers with 17 kobo loss. Now, conversely, you see Guinness and Zenith Bank, they are the most traded equities with a combined 1 naira gain, and were closely followed by Vitafoam and Guarantee, as both equities had 1 naira gain to complete the list of top 4 gainers. Now, a summary of today's trading saw 796 million shares worth 4 billion naira exchange hands in 4,810 deals. Now, on the global scene, stocks stumbled today as a flat line progress in U.S. coronavirus stimulus negotiations, as well as European Union and the UK trade talks weighed down on the global market. FTSE was down at 0.56%. Dow Jones also saw a decline of 0.15%, and Nikkei Asian stock also saw a decline of 0.39%. That's all on Stock Market Review. Over to you now, Falashade, for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Mary. Moving now to the foreign scene, where the International Rescue Committee, IRC, has announced the death of 3 staff members in a refugee camp in Ethiopia. The humanitarian group has been working with 96,000 refugees in 4 camps as the conflict in Ethiopia's Tigray region between the federal and regional forces has forced thousands of people to flee. The humanitarian group has not identified the deceased or said when or how it happened, but its statement confirmed that 8 workers had been serving in Hitsat's refugee camp in Shire when they were killed. Last week, Ethiopia's government said it had signed a humanitarian access deal with the UN to coordinate Tigray's essential supplies. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed declared the end of military operations in the region on November 28 after the fall of the regional capital, Mekelle. Up next is entertainment.
There is no denying that Ndani TV has the cast and crew that makes television gold. The online station has released the official trailer for its brand new series, Game On. The series stars Ebenezer Eno as Mayowa, a young woman who is in a relationship and cohabits with her boyfriend Leye. From every indication, we expect to go through a whirlwind of emotions, following Mayowa and Leye as they seem to go through the emotions in their relationship. Also starring Omomi Dada, Ayan Wardi, Taye Arimoro and Eve Bakung, and many more. Game On is set to premiere on the 17th of December and is powered by GT Bank. Don't forget that it would be energetic Abimbola Craig directing the movie. After their recently released critically acclaimed debut album, Roots, the Caveman has returned with a brand new single titled Buno No Go No. The duo says support given to them this year has been so overwhelming, and it's only nice they end the year with another KV jam. The track was produced by the Caveman and mixed and mastered by Bigfoot in Your Face. The song really shows that the brothers won't slow down anytime soon. Nigerian filmmaker Charles Okpaleke has confirmed the title of Play Network Studios' first ever original production. The film executive says the forthcoming film titled The Six will debut alongside other announced remakes slated for 2021. Aside the title, the production company is yet to give more details about the feature. Well, look forward to the revelation of the studio's first original production. And that's all we have for you on the entertainment segment of News Now.
And in sports, Nigeria internationals Wilfred Ndidi and Kelechi Iheanacho were on parade for the Foxes against AEK Athens at King Power Stadium at Leicester City progress to the next stage of Europa Cup. Iheanacho and Ndidi were in action in the 2-0 victory over AEK Athens to secure a place in the knockout stage of the competition on Thursday night. Iheanacho's appearance was the 6th in European competition and spearheaded the Foxes' attack. The Super Eagles centre-forward gave a good account of himself in the encounter, although he could not add to his 3 goals in the tournament. And that's it in our package. Thank you for watching. I'm Folashade Ogurinde.